Hi guys. Today, I'm going to talk about, Larry. What are you doing?
Oh no! My bucket is leaking while I was watering the plant right there.
What? Oh no. But anyways, what I was about to say was...
I think the plant's got too much water and my bucket can't stop leaking.
I think I have a solution. The bandage will help.
But Reuploaded, the bandage will be soaking wet. I don't think that might not work. Oh no! I think the plant is about to get extremely big.
I got to stop it, before it happens.
Uh-oh. It is becoming extremely big.
Let's talk about planets. A planet is an astronomical body orbiting a star or stellar remnant that is massive enough to be rounded by its own gravity, is not massive enough to cause thermonuclear fusion, and has cleared its neighboring region of planetesimals. The term planet is ancient, with ties to history, astrology, science, mythology, and religion. 5 planets in the solar system are visible to the naked eye. These were regarded by many early cultures as divine, or as emissaries of deities. As scientific knowledge advanced, human perception of the planets changed, incorporating a number of disparate objects. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union (IAU) officially adopted a resolution defining planets within the solar system. This definition is controversial, because it excludes many objects of planetary mass, based on where or what they orbit. Although 8 of the planetary bodies discovered before 1950 remain planets under the modern definition, some celestial bodies, such as Ceres, Pallas, Juno and Vesta, each an object in the solar asteroid belt, and Pluto, the first trans-Neptunian object discovered, that were once considered planets by the scientific community, are no longer viewed as such. The planets were thought by Ptolemy to orbit Earth in deferent and bicycle motions. Although the idea that the planets orbited the Sun had been suggested many times, it was not until the 17th century that this view was supported by evidence from the first telescopic astronomical observations, performed by Galileo Galilei. About the same time, by careful analysis of pre-telescopic observational data collected by Tycho Brahe, Johannes Kepler found the planets' orbits were elliptical rather than circular. As observational tools improved, astronomers saw that, like Earth, each of the planets rotated around an axis tilted with respect to its orbital pole, and some shared such features as ice caps and seasons. Since the dawn of the space age, close observation by space probes has found that Earth and the other planets share characteristics such as volcanism, hurricanes, tectonics, and even hydrology. Planets are generally divided into 2 main types: large low-density giant planets, and smaller rocky terrestrials. There are 8 planets in the solar system. In order of increasing distance from the Sun, they are the 4 terrestrials, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Then the 4 giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are both the gas giants and the ice giants respectively. 6 of the planets are orbited by 1 or more natural satellites. Several thousands of planets around other stars, extrasolar planets or exoplanets, have been discovered in the Milky Way. All the planets in our solar system orbit the Sun.
Oh no. I was very HGH up.
Oh no! It was extremely gigantically big. How am I going to do? I have an idea. K, magic wand, shrink the plant really short. Yeah, it works. Thank you so much, magic wand.
Wow. I never went to this place before. There's nothing, except for the clouds, dust, asteroids, comets, planets, stars, etc. How did I get to outer space? Oh well. I feel like there's no gravity in outer space. I will tell you all the planets in the solar system in order, including dwarf planets.
Mercury is the closest planet from the Sun. It is often called the swiftest planet because a year on Mercury goes by fast. It is named after the Roman deity Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. It has a mass of 330.1 sextillion kilograms. It has surface temperatures that vary diurnally more than on any other planet in the solar system, ranging from 100 Kelvin, 173 degrees Celsius, minus 280 degrees Fahrenheit, at night to 700 Kelvin, 427 degrees Celsius, 800 degrees Fahrenheit, during the day across the equatorial regions. The polar regions are constantly below 180 Kelvin, 93 degrees Celsius, minus 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Mercury is only slightly larger than Earth's moon. From the surface of Mercury, the Sun would appear more than 3 times as large as it does when viewed from Earth, and the sunlight would be as much as 7 times brighter. Despite its proximity to the Sun, Mercury is not the hottest planet in our solar system. That title belongs to nearby Venus, thanks to its dense atmosphere. It is the closest planet to the Sun at a distance of about 36 million miles, 58 million kilometers, or 0.39 astronomical units. One day on Mercury, the time it takes for Mercury to rotate or spin once with respect to the stars, takes 59 Earth days. One day night cycle on Mercury takes 175.97 Earth days. Mercury makes a complete orbit around the Sun, a year in Mercury time, in just 88 Earth days. Mercury is a rocky planet, also known as a terrestrial planet. Mercury has a solid, cratered surface, much like the Earth's moon. Mercury's thin atmosphere, or exosphere, is composed mostly of oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, helium, and potassium. Atoms that are blasted off the surface by the solar wind and micrometeoroid impacts create Mercury's exosphere. It has no moons, and have no rings. No evidence for life has been found on Mercury. Daytime temperatures can reach 430 degrees Celsius, 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and drop to minus 180 degrees Celsius, 290 degrees Fahrenheit, at night. It is unlikely life, as we know it, could survive on this planet. The 2 spacecraft of ESA JAXA's P-Bo are en route to Mercury. NASA Mariner 10 was the first mission to explore Mercury. NASA Messenger was the first to orbit the innermost planet. Along with Venus, Earth, and Mars, Mercury is one of the rocky planets. It has a solid surface that is covered with craters. It has a thin atmosphere, and it doesn't have any moons. Mercury likes to keep things simple. It doesn't take very long to go all the way round. If you lived on Mercury, you'd have a birthday every 3 months. Venus is the second closest planet to the Sun at a distance of about 67 million miles, 108 million km. It is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty. It has a mass of 4.8 septillion kilograms. It is often called the planetary hotspot planet, because of the very hot heat. The planet's surface temperature is about 900 degrees Fahrenheit, 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. Even though Venus isn't the closest planet to the Sun, it is still the hottest. It has a thick atmosphere full of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide and clouds made of sulfuric acid. The gas traps heat and keeps Venus toasty warm. In fact, it's so hot on Venus, metals like lead would be puddles of melted liquid. Venus looks like a very active planet. It has mountains and volcanoes. Venus is similar in size to Earth. Venus' solid surface is a volcanic landscape covered with extensive plains featuring high volcanic mountains and vast ridged plateaus. Earth is just a little bit bigger. Venus is unusual because it spins the opposite direction of Earth and most other planets. And its rotation is very slow. It takes about 243 Earth days to spin around just once. Because it's so close to the Sun, a year goes by fast. It takes 225 Earth days for Venus to go all the way around the Sun. That means that a day on Venus is a little longer than a year on Venus. Since the day and year lengths are similar, one day on Venus is not like a day on Earth. Just like Mercury, Venus doesn't have any moons. More than 40 spacecraft have explored Venus. The 90s Magellan mission mapped the planet's surface and Ehitsuki is currently orbiting Venus. Venus' extreme temperatures and acidic clouds make it an unlikely place for life as we know it. While the surface rotates slowly, the winds blow at hurricane force, sending clouds completely around the planet every 5 days. Earth is the third planet from the Sun at a distance of about 93 million miles, 150 million km. It has a mass of 5.9 septillion kilograms. It is often called our home planet, because this planet makes a perfect habitable for life. Earth is a rocky, terrestrial planet. It has a solid and active surface with mountains, valleys, canyons, plains and so much more. Earth is special because it is an ocean planet. Water covers 70% of Earth's surface. While Earth is only the 5th largest planet in the solar system, it is the only world in our solar system with liquid water on the surface. Just slightly larger than nearby Venus, Earth is the biggest of the 4 planets closest to the Sun, all of which are made of rock and metal. Our atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen and has plenty of oxygen for us to breathe. The atmosphere also protects us from incoming meteoroids, most of which break up in our atmosphere before they can strike the surface as meteorites. Since we live here, you might think we know all there is to know about Earth. Not at all, actually. Right now, there are many satellites orbiting Earth taking pictures and measurements. The name Earth is a Germanic word, which simply means the ground Earth have one moon, and no rings, but many orbiting spacecraft study the Earth from above as a whole system observing the atmosphere, ocean, glaciers, and the solid Earth. Mars is the 4th planet from the Sun at an average distance of about 228 million km, 142 million miles, or 152 astronomical units. Mars carries a name of the Roman god of war. It has a mass of 641.7 sextillion kilograms. It is often called the red planet, because the whole planet is red. Mars is a cold desert world. It is half the size of Earth. One day on Mars takes a little over 24 hours. Mars makes a complete orbit around the Sun, a year in Martian time, in 687 Earth days. Like Earth, Mars has seasons, polar ice caps, volcanoes, canyons, and weather. It has a very thin atmosphere made of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon. Mars has 2 moons named Phobos and Deimos. Mars has no rings. There are signs of ancient floods on Mars, but now water mostly exists in icy dirt and thin clouds. On some Martian hillsides, there is evidence of liquid salty water in the ground. Scientists want to know if Mars may have had living things in the past. They also want to know if Mars could support life now or in the future. Jupiter is the 5th planet from the Sun. It is named after Jupiter, the king of the Roman gods. Jupiter orbits about 484 million miles, 778 million kilometers, or 5.2 astronomical units from our Sun. It's twice as massive out of all the other planets. 11 Earths could fit across Jupiter's equator. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. It's similar to a star, but it never got big enough to start burning. It is covered in swirling cloud stripes. It has big storms like the Great Red Spot, which has been going for hundreds of years. It has a mass of 1.8 octillion kilograms. Jupiter is a gas giant and doesn't have a solid surface, but it may have a solid inner core about the size of Earth. Jupiter also has rings, but they're too faint to see very well. Jupiter rotates once about every 10 hours, a Jovian day, but takes about 12 Earth years to complete one orbit of the Sun, a Jovian year. Jupiter has more than 75 moons. 9 spacecraft have visited Jupiter. 7 flew by and 2 have orbited the gas giant. Juno, the most recent, arrived at Jupiter in 2016. Jupiter cannot support life as we know it. But some of Jupiter's moons have oceans beneath their crusts that might support life. Jupiter's Great Red Spot is a gigantic storm that's about twice the size of Earth and has raged for over a century.
Well, Jupiter has 79 known moons and the rings of Jupiter are too hard to see.
Saturn is the 6th planet from our Sun, a star, and orbits at a distance of about 886 million miles, 1.4 billion kilometers, from the Sun. Saturn is named after the Roman god of agriculture, but however, the day Saturday is also named after him. It is the 2nd largest planet in our solar system. It has a mass of 568.3 septillion kilograms. 9 Earths side by side would almost span Saturn's diameter. It is often called the jewel of our solar system because it has rings. Saturn isn't the only planet to have rings, but it definitely has the most beautiful ones. Saturn takes about 10.7 hours, no one knows precisely, to rotate on its axis once a Saturn day, and 29 Earth years to orbit the Sun. Saturn has 53 known moons with an additional 9 moons awaiting confirmation of their discovery. That is a total of 62 moons. The rings we see are made of groups of tiny ringlets that surround Saturn. They're made of chunks of ice and rock. Like Jupiter, Saturn is mostly a ball of hydrogen and helium. Saturn cannot support life as we know it, but some of Saturn's moons have conditions that might support life. When Galileo Galilei saw Saturn through a telescope in 1610, he wasn't sure what he was seeing. At first he thought he was looking at 3 planets, or a planet with handles. Now we know those handles turned out to be the rings of Saturn. Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun at a distance of about 1.8 billion miles, 2.9 billion kilometers. Uranus is the only planet whose name is derived directly from a figure from Greek mythology, from the Latinized version of the Greek god of the sky Uranus. It was discovered on March 13, 1781 by William Herschel. It is often called the sideways planet, because it's tilted on its side. Uranus is made of water, methane, and ammonia fluids above a small rocky center. Wind speeds can reach 250 meters per second. Its atmosphere is made of hydrogen and helium like Jupiter and Saturn, but it also has methane. The methane makes Uranus blue. It has a mass of 86.8 sextillion kilograms. Uranus also has faint rings. The inner rings are narrow and dark. The outer rings are brightly colored and easier to see. It is the coldest planetary atmosphere in the solar system, with a minimum temperature of 49 Kelvin, 224 degrees Celsius, minus 371 degrees Fahrenheit, and has a complex, layered cloud structure with water thought to make up the lowest clouds and methane the uppermost layer of clouds like Venus. Uranus rotates in the opposite direction as most other planets. And unlike any other planet, Uranus rotates on its side. Uranus is about 4 times wider than Earth. Uranus takes about 70 hours to rotate once, a Urania day, and about 84 Earth years to complete an orbit of the Sun, a Uranian year. Uranus has 27 known moons, and they are named after characters from the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. Uranus has 13 known rings. The inner rings are narrow and dark and the outer rings are brightly colored. Uranus cannot support life as we know it. Neptune is the 8th planet from the Sun at a distance of about 2.8 billion miles, 4.5 billion kilometers. It was discovered on September 23, 1846 by Johann Galle and Urbain Le Verrier. It is named after the Roman god of the sea. It has a mass of 10.2 sextillion kilograms. Neptune takes about 16 hours to rotate once, a Neptunian day, and about 165 Earth years to orbit the Sun, a Neptunian year. Neptune's outer atmosphere is one of the coldest places in the solar system, with temperatures at its cloud tops approaching 55 Kelvin, 218 degrees Celsius, minus 361 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperatures at the planet's center are approximately 5,400 Kelvin, 5,100 degrees Celsius, 9,300 degrees Fahrenheit. It is often called the windiest planet because it has very fast winds. Neptune is dark, cold, and very windy. It's the last of the planets in our solar system. It's more than 30 times as far from the Sun as Earth is. Neptune is about 4 times wider than Earth. Neptune is very similar to Uranus. Neptune has 13 moons, and 1 more awaiting confirmation of discovery, makes a total of 14, which are named after sea gods and nymphs in Greek mythology. It's made of a thick soup of water, ammonia, and methane over an Earth-sized solid center. Its atmosphere is made of hydrogen, helium, and methane. The methane gives Neptune the same blue color as Uranus. Neptune has 6 rings, but they're very hard to see. Neptune cannot support life as we know it. Pluto is the dwarf planet. It was named after Pluto, the ruler of the underworld in classical mythology. Pluto orbits the Sun about 3.6 billion miles, 5.8 billion km, away on average, about 40 times as far as Earth, in a region called the Kuiper Belt. It has a mass of 13 sextillion kilograms. A year on Pluto is 248 Earth years. A day on Pluto lasts 153 hours, or about 6 Earth days. Pluto is about 1,400 miles, 2,380 kilometers, wide. That's about half the width of the United States, or 2/3 the width of Earth's moon. Because of dwarf planet Pluto's elliptical orbit, Pluto is sometimes closer to the Sun, and thus, than Neptune is. Pluto has a thin atmosphere of nitrogen, methane and carbon monoxide. The atmosphere has a blue tint and distinct layers of haze. Pluto has 5 moons. The largest, Charon, is so big that Pluto and Charon orbit each other like a double planet. The only spacecraft to visit Pluto is NASA New Horizons, which passed close by in July 2015. Pluto's surface is far too cold, -378 to -396 degrees Fahrenheit, 228 to -238 degrees Celsius, to sustain life as we know it. Pluto was discovered on February 18, 1930 by Clytemnestra. Venetia Burney suggested the name Pluto in 1930. Senna is very, very far away from the Sun. Because it's between 11 and 13 billion kilometers, or 90 astronomical units, away, its surface features are a mystery. It was discovered on November 14, 2003 by Michael Brown, Chad Trujillo, and David Rabinowitz. Scientists denote it red, much like Mars. A few other distant objects share this distinctive color, which could mean they share a similar origin. The extreme distance of the world means if you fuse the Sun from Senna, you could blot it out with a pin. However, that pinprick of light would be bright, about 100 times brighter than the full moon viewed from Earth. To put this into perspective, the Sun from Earth is around 400,000 times brighter than the moon. The size of the world is estimated to be about 1,000 kilometers, which makes it about half the diameter of Pluto, 2,250 kilometers, or around same size as Pluto's moon, Saturn. Originally, Senna was believed to be much larger. It's likely the size of the object will be revised again as more is known. Senna is located in the Oort cloud, a region containing many icy objects and the theoretical source of many comets. It takes a long time for Senna to orbit the Sun, longer than any other known object in the solar system. It takes about 10.273 hours to complete a rotational period, or a Senna day. Its 11,000-year cycle is so long partially because it's so far out, but also because the orbit is highly elliptical rather than round. Usually, oblong orbits are due to a close encounter with another body. If an object either impacted Senna or drew close enough to affect its orbit, it's no longer there. Likely candidates for such an encounter include a single passing star, an unseen planet out beyond the Kuiper belt, or a young star that was with the Sun in a stellar cluster when it formed. Another reason a year on Senna is so long is because the body moves relatively slowly around the Sun, about 4% as fast as the Earth moves. While the present orbit is eccentric, astronomers believe Senna likely formed with the near-circular orbit that was disrupted at some point. The round orbit would have been necessary for particles to clump together or accrete to form a rounded world. Senna has no known moons. This makes it the largest trans-Neptunian object orbiting the Sun that doesn't have its own satellite.
So these are the planets in the solar system. The asteroid belt has many asteroids between Mars and Jupiter, and the Kuiper belt has a few at the end of the solar system. Brrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr
What's Reuploaded taking so long? Wow, whoa, 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 whoa. Ouch.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
Ooh, it's making me feel dizzy. But that's okay, since my plant did not fall down.
Okay. Guys, I hope you understand the planets. This is Reuploaded signing off.